They want to be scared of something. And this fear, for whatever reason, motivates them to get out of bed every day. So they have to be scared of. This is why the left plays the fear card so often, because they understand and realize that many of their minions have to be scared. They've got to keep them scared. This is why they will also deny the truth. When you talk about, especially when you talk about Al Gore's inconvenient, you tell them exactly what Al Gore said, and they will deny it. Look, I've been involved in conversations where this has happened. They've denied it. Like, how the hell can you deny? Al Gore said it, and he's on tape. And then when you point that out, they'll try to defend him. Well, that's not what he meant. Well, then what did he mean if he didn't mean that? I've come to the conclusion that they need to be scared. They need to be scared of conservatives. They need to be scared of conservatism. They need to be scared of people who actually tell the truth. They need to be scared of the fact that, oh my goodness, there has to be climate change. Well, yes, there's climate change. There's always been climate change on this planet. The climate has never, ever been static. But it has never, ever been affected by mankind. But they need to be scared. The funny thing is that they will fight you tooth and nail to remain in fear. I know it is illogical. It makes no sense. But this is how these people live. Because otherwise, if they're not scared, it means that it's not somebody else's fault, that they are This is the reason why. Now, pay attention, folks. This is exactly why these people have to remain scared. Because if they are scared of something that is out of their control, it has to be somebody else's fault. Somebody else has to be responsible. If they are no longer scared, it means that they are responsible for themselves. And we understand and we know that the left can never be responsible for their own actions. It always has to be somebody else. And if it's somebody else, well, then you can be fearful of that somebody else because you do not have full control over that somebody else. And you will fight tooth and nail to try to get control over that somebody else so you're no longer in fear. But every time they get what they want and they get what they ask for, they get angrier and madder and more scared because they cannot accept personal responsibility for their own actions. It has to be somebody else. And if it's somebody else, then that scares the bejesus out of everybody. Do you understand how this all works? Now that you know what I have figured out, we know how to attack them and counter this kind of crap. You know, because you can say all you want to, hey, well, this is the facts. The facts here, the facts there, the facts, this guy said this and that didn't happen, this guy. And they'll deny it or obfuscate or make an excuse. But now that you know that why they're scared, you can approach it from their fear point of view. And you can start putting it to them this way. Wow. What if we actually do, because I don't think there's real climate change. What if we do something thinking that we're protecting the environment and we end up making it worse? What if the planet and all the plants need that extra CO2 that we've been putting in the atmosphere? What if we take it away and the plants start dying and stop producing oxygen? You think I'm kidding. You start pointing that out to them. You start taking that approach to them, you are going to put them in a tailspin. Because now all of a sudden you're starting to say, well, maybe you shouldn't just be afraid of conservatives. Maybe you should be afraid of those ultra liberals who want to take us back to the Stone Age. They want to kill you. They want to kill your family by denying you oxygen. What was that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? On Mars? They want to cut off your oxygen supply. Because they want to kill the plants. Because the plants need CO2, and they want to cut off all CO2. Because they say CO2 is a greenhouse gas. Start turning their fear around on them. Watch their heads spin. I'm serious, folks. Look, sometimes you just got to sit back because I for a long time I sat back and I thought, well, my God, I mean, here are the facts here, and this guy said this, and they're denying it, and they're making, and then it dawned on me, by listening to these people, just listening to them, listening to their tone, their inflection, they're scared to death. And they need to be scared. Look at all these wonderful children who need safe zones on college campuses. Why would you need a safe zone unless you were scared of what's happening outside of your safe zone? You're scared to death. A safe zone is for people who are, if you're not scared of anything, you don't need a safe zone. Because you don't think that you need to be safe from anything because you already think you're safe. You're not scared. But they need safe zones. They need people to not have freedom of speech because they're afraid of what somebody's going to say is going to upset them or insult them and make them feel bad about themselves. It's just rampant fear. They stay in college. Why? Because they're fear. They have a fear of the real world that they're not going to get because, all those that came before them, they're not getting the jobs that they went to college for. The economy sucks, man. All these rich people, they've got all the jobs. They're not giving us any jobs. There are no jobs for me out there. I got to stay in college. It's too scary out there. They're scared to death. Now, yes, there is a certain amount of natural controlled fear that we all have and all need because it's just called survival. But this goes way above and beyond that natural, innate, normal fear that every human being that has ever lived had. It's called survival. But when you get to the point where you need a safe zone on a college campus, and you're calling for the First Amendment to be thrown out because some speech should not be allowed because it offends you, that's all about unadulterated, uncontrollable, uncontrolled fear. And that's all this climate gate, climate change, climate whatever crap you want to call it, is all about fear. And when you take fear out of sight, in other words, you cannot say back in the year 2000, we're going to have, it's going to be climate devastation in the year 2015 if we don't do anything. When 2015 gets here and everything's right as rain. Well, then people start to lose fear. But if you say in the year 2000, it is going to be hell to pay in the year 2100 if we don't, in 100 years from now, if we don't do something. And it's going to get progressively worse and worse and worse and worse until the year 2100, then all hell will break loose. Well, you're not going to be alive to figure that one out, that they were wrong. But now you're going to be scared for yourself. Oh my goodness, what's it going to be like in 2050 then? I might be alive in 2050. It's going to be hell. Oh my God. And what about my kids and my grandkids? I can't have kids and grandkids because it's going to be so horrible in the year 2100. Oh my God, what have we done? It's based on fear. Not scientific fact. Because the facts do not bear out what they're telling us. He wants to fundamentally change the country, said Obama. He wants to do it based on fear. Every time we have a major shooting, that fits their political agenda. What is it based on? Fear. We need gun control. What? Gun control is not wouldn't have stopped 97% of these mass shootings. There isn't a single law on the books or has been proposed that would have prevented 97%. I'm just using Obama's 97%, but it's higher than that actually. Would have prevented 97% of these mass shootings. Not a single. Even if you confiscated guns from people, these criminals would still find hey, there are no guns allowed in Paris, France. And what these, you can't even have a handgun really, but what did they have? They had, automatic and semi-automatic rifles. Did they buy those in Paris? Of course not. But the fear is, if you leave guns out there in the law-abiding citizen's hand, then criminals are going to commit crime. And if we get rid of the guns in law-abiding citizens' hands, then criminals will not commit crime. So they're playing on your fear for safety. And we know what Benjamin Franklin said about that. They're playing on your fears, folks. I can hear it. You can hear, if you just stop and listen, you can hear a liberal when they talk, the fear is in their voice. But don't get me wrong, sometimes fear is righteous. Sometimes fear, there is a reason for fear. It's legitimate and it's logical because of what's going. Now, the legitimate fear is that they're trying to take away our rights, which they are. Legitimate fear is, from freebeacon.com, according to Congress, more than 179,000 criminal illegal immigrants are roaming free in the U.S. In that new crimes by this group of criminal illegal alien, are being committed on a daily basis. Which might be the reason why so many people are buying fire. With Black Friday was a record-breaking day for the sale of arms and munitions in this country. The story goes, more than 179,000 illegal immigrants convicted of committing crimes, including violent ones, continue to roam free across the United States, with reports indicating that these illegal aliens commit new crimes every day, according to lawmakers and the director of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency known as ICE. The liberal head honcho of ICE is saying that. So what is our reaction to this fear? Use our constitutionally protected rights, get a weapon, and shoot back. Well, folks, that sound means we are out of time for today, but we will be back here tomorrow. Fear not. Fear not. I'm Rod Eccles. This has been the Rod Eccles Show. I'm out.